Every single object around you, from the phone in your hand to the chair you're sitting on, heck, even the layout of your city, it all has a hidden story. It's a story of choices, creativity, and consequences. Today, we're going to unpack that story and explore the massive ripple effect that starts with just one design decision but ends up shaping our entire world. Okay, so let's dive right in. Here's the journey we're about to take. We'll kick things off with the moral compass of an individual designer, then see how their creative spark gets legally protected. After that, we'll follow the ripple outwards to see how design really affects society. And finally, we'll look at how it's being used to innovate for a better, more sustainable planet. Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here, with the very first choice. Before a single sketch is made or a line of code is written, a designer has to face their own values. This is ground zero for the entire ripple effect we're talking about today. Now, this isn't just some abstract puzzle, right? This is a real-world dilemma that designers can and do face. It just goes to show you that great design isn't only about how something looks or works. It starts with a choice, sometimes a really tough one, that's rooted deep in personal and professional values. So, how in the world does a designer answer a question like that? Well, it all comes down to this: their personal ethics. And this isn't some vague feeling, It's like an internal compass, a solid framework of values that has to guide every single decision they make on the job. And that personal framework gets backed up by a set of professional responsibilities. You can think of this list as a kind of code of conduct. It's not just about, delivering a project on time. It's about operating with real integrity towards your client, towards other designers, and ultimately towards all of society and the planet. And here's where things get really interesting and complicated. New tech like surveillance drones or artificial intelligence is pushing these ethical chats into brand new territory. All of a sudden, we have to apply these timeless principles about privacy and safety to situations that are completely unprecedented. So let's say a designer has navigated that ethical maze and brought a fantastic idea to life. What's next? Well, you got to make sure that creative spark is protected, so it can't just be swiped by someone else. First up, if the real magic of your product is all about how it looks, the sleek curve of a chair or that unique pattern on a fabric, then a registered design is the legal shield you're looking for. It protects the visual identity of your product. But what if your idea isn't about looks, but about how something works? Maybe you've invented a new process or a super clever device. In that case, a patent is what you need. It safeguards that functional ingenuity and gives you the exclusive right to sell it. Now, for things that are pure creative expression, like a piece of art, a photograph, or even the code for a computer game, copyright is your automatic shield. The moment you create it, bam, it's protected. It's totally free and it happens instantly. And finally, we've got trademarks. This is all about your brand's identity, that iconic logo, that super catchy jingle, or a memorable name. A trademark makes sure that when customers see it, they think of you and nobody else. So here's the bottom line. This is not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Each type of intellectual property protects a totally different part of innovation. And altogether, they create this legal ecosystem that actually encourages people to create and share new ideas. It's a system that's constantly being tested by just how fast digital creation moves these days. Okay, so we've got an idea born from ethical choices, and it's secured by the law. Now that ripple can finally start to grow. We're going to trace that impact as it spreads out into the real world, shaping our communities and, our planet. This right here illustrates the stakes perfectly. Just think about a simple town square. If it's designed well, with good lighting and open spaces, it becomes a hub where the community comes together. But if it's poorly lit with lots of hidden corners, it can become a place people actively avoid. It's the exact same space, but design makes all the difference in our quality of life. And look at the progression of driverless cars. This shows that the impact on society isn't always immediate. It evolves over time. We've gone from cars with zero automation to cars that can pretty much drive themselves. And with every single step, the ethical and social questions just get more and more complex. And because of that complexity, authorities are already starting to write the rulebook. This quote from a German government report is a clear attempt to literally program ethics into machines. They're deciding that an AI should not make a life-or-death call based on someone's personal features. That is a profound choice with huge implications for all of us. To really understand a design's full impact, especially on the environment, designers use something called a life cycle analysis. It forces them to look way beyond the factory floor and consider every single stage, from digging raw materials out of the ground all the way to what happens when that product gets thrown away. Understanding this entire life cycle with all of its impacts has led us to our final and, honestly, most critical ripple: how designers are now actively innovating to create solutions for a much more sustainable future. The foundation for this future is a massive design challenge. How do we completely shift our energy sources? It means moving away from those finite fossil fuels and toward cleverly designed systems that harness the planet's own power, from the sun, the wind, and the incredible movement of water. And this isn't some far-off dream. It's actually happening right now, and it's driven by choice. In Australia, programs like Green Power let consumers actually choose renewable energy. And as you can see, it's businesses who are the biggest drivers, making up a full half of all green power purchases. This change is happening all over the country, but it is clearly concentrated. Victoria, Queensland, and New South Wales are really leading the charge, and together they account for over 80% of all green power sales. It really shows you how that regional momentum can build into a national movement. So what's the potential here? Well, it boils down to one big number: 50%. If every single household in Australia switched to 100% green power, it would be enough to power half the entire country. That just shows you the massive, incredible power of collective, individual choice. So when you trace it all the way through, from that first ethical question in a designer's mind, to the laws that protect their idea, to how that idea changes our lives, and finally, to its impact on the entire planet, you realize that no design choice is ever truly small. And that brings the whole story full circle, doesn't it? From the designer's choice, right back to ours. Because as consumers, we cast a vote with every single purchase we make. So the next time you choose a product, just take a second to think about its story. What kind of ripple are you going to be sending out into the world?